Welcome to the Algorithm of Ascendance, Volume 1. If this story pulls you in, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you can follow the next part the moment it arrives. Deep, resonant, and unsettling calm, with a hint of absolute authority. The transition was instantaneous. A billion data streams flooded his mind, granting him absolute dominion over the world's magic and resources. The system administrator had awakened. Intense whisper, emphasizing the cost of power. Omnipotence is a cold burden. Every piece of control came with an invisible tether, binding him to a new, ruthless purpose. Determined and sharp, for he gested de suardi sedent provivalate to a needing the sevil, inaced fill. The chaotic influx of power was overwhelming, but despair was no longer an option. Low, menacing tone, establishing dominance. He felt the shift, the old pragmatist dissolving, replaced by a cold, calculating will. The system demanded a sovereign, reflective and strained, conveying deep psychological pressure. The scale of his control was terrifying. He was not just an administrator, but the architect of destiny itself, and the strain began to show in his tired eyes. Final chilling declaration, cold and absolute. The system had granted him everything. Now he would begin to take everything else. Intense, low growl, emphasizing ruthless determination, and the heavy price of power. Survival demanded sacrifice. Kale claimed the Heartstone of Aethelgard, channeling its raw, chaotic power to secure his foothold in this new reality. The sheer magnitude of the claim immediately began to etch itself into his soul. Sharp, cold whisper, highlighting the psychological shift towards ruthlessness. The cost was immediate and subtle. With every surge of power, the pragmatic programmer dissolved, replaced by a chilling, calculating ruthlessness. He was no longer just surviving. He was beginning to devour. A heavy, resonant tone, emphasizing the overwhelming nature of the artifact. The Heartstone roared to life, a nexus of ancient, raw magic. Kale felt the power flood him, an intoxicating drug that promised dominion, but it left behind a growing emptiness. Fast-paced, aggressive delivery synchronized with the action. He unleashed the first torrent of energy, a blinding display of harnessed chaos. This wasn't just magic, it was the unfiltered expression of his new godhood, and he reveled in the terrifying authority it bestowed. A strained, internal monologue tone, conveying hidden psychological turmoil. But beneath the triumphant glow, a flicker of something ancient and wounded surfaced. The system was working, subtly rewriting the architecture of his mind, carving out space for tyranny. Deep, measured, and ominous, this power wasn't a gift. It was an infection. Kale understood then that to wield this dominion meant surrendering the very humanity he had desperately tried to protect. A quiet, chilling realization. The corruption wasn't external. It was internal. The system administrator wasn't granting power. It was meticulously editing the architect into a tyrant he was destined to become. Final